So there is a very common narrative that can play out in any type of relational dynamic. So this is the narrative that can and will play out in romantic relationships. It can play out at work, in work-based relationships with a colleague or with a boss, and it of course can play out in family relationships and with friends. So basically any relationship dynamic, you can find this narrative playing, and the narrative is the narcissist-empath narrative. And today I wanted to go through this narrative and break it down in a way that is less triggering perhaps, so that you can have more clarity around it and then more command over it, so that this narrative doesn't have to play out in any of your relationships. My name is Hedley, and if you have found your way to my channel, you are in the right place. I do have some new subscribers, so I want to say welcome to all of you. Thank you for being here. If you'd like to know more about me, you'll find that information in the box below this video or at my website. I offer one-to-one law of assumption coaching, where we will look at your current reality and work together to rescript and reimagine it, and you will see results fast, because when you work with these teachings, you will see results fast. I also have my self-concept course, the paid version and the free version, I Am the One, and my book, which will completely transform your relationship with money. It is called I Am Money. All of those details are in the box below this video and at my website, youaretheone.com.au. And if I could ask you to engage with this video in some way, if you are enjoying it, and if you feel inclined, you can also subscribe to my channel, and that would be most appreciated. Thank you so much. So I have spoken about this before in a much older video, and I wanted to revisit this because even though it is essentially still the same thing, I just wanted to take it a little bit further, because this is a relational dynamic which is so common. And in my work as a coach, I just hear this dynamic played out so often in so many different ways. So I wanted to make this video to give you a much more in-depth understanding as to what is happening in this narrative. And the narrative that I am talking about is the narcissist-empath narrative, where the person who identifies themselves as the empath will often end up with somebody who they have identified as the narcissist, because narcissists very rarely identify themselves as narcissists. But these two characters, these two dynamics will attract each other, and they will appear to be opposite, but there is a lot more going on in this dynamic. So even if this dynamic is not something that is playing out in your reality, you will still find value in this video, because this is all about coming home to self. And by that I mean coming back to the infinite I am, which is the infinite observer of reality, and whatever is the observer of something is the cause of it. As we go out into our day and we are engaging with others and we're having conversations, we're engaged in different situations and circumstances and dynamics, we will have a tendency to forget I am. What we do is, because we're looking out there, we're looking at you, and I'm looking over there at him or her or she or it. And then when I'm talking about it with somebody else, I'm also talking about him or her or she or it, or what happened when they did this. And we often find ourselves falling into third person thinking and third person speaking. Now, nothing wrong with that. However, third person thinking is the thinking of reality. It's at the level of third dimension, and we have no power or control over reality. What we do have power and control over is consciousness. That's all we have control over, is consciousness. So if we are thinking and speaking and experiencing reality at that third person level, and you know it because you're using that language, and I know it when I'm working with a client, if they're in he, she, they, or it language, I know that they are in third person thinking. So that tells me exactly where their awareness is, and it tells me exactly what their reality is doing. Because when somebody is speaking in third person, they have no power or control over what they're talking about. It's happening to them and they are a victim to it. And so when you hear yourself speaking and thinking and telling stories in third person, you know that you have forgotten I am. And I am is the one who is observing that thing or person out there. Now, we are always in I am, even when we forget. And that is why we are always creating and we are always manifesting, whether we are aware of it or not. That can be when you're having a thought about something and you forget that you have that thought, and then that thing manifests and you're like, oh my God, I just had that thought like 2 weeks ago and here it is. Because you are always observing reality, your observer is always in command. However, we don't know that. We forget that, and then we fall into observing out there. We fall into victim, and if we're thinking from that victim place, reality must reflect back that victim story. Now, the narcissist and the empath story is a victim story, and that is where we have fallen out of first person I am thinking, and we have fallen into third person. Now, also, before I get into this, I also want to just preface this by saying there's no right or wrong or good or bad, or there's any judgment with any of this. We are having a human experience. We are all in the process of remembering who we are, and these experiences help us remember who we are, because everything and everyone is here to help you, and they're helping you remember who you are. And they're going to do it at times indirectly, where they're going to act out characters that are very unpleasant and are very painful, but it is all here to help you wake up from the amnesia of the illusion that you are somehow powerless and victim to what is happening to you. This is all helping you remember that this is a holographic dream playing out for your awakening, so that you can have the physical sensory experience of remembering who you are. So the character of the narcissist, somebody who generally will take, and the empath is somebody who will generally give. These two appear to be polar opposites. However, reality is nothing more than a holographic reflection, a direct reflection of what is within you that you are unable to see. And this person is reflecting back directly a part of yourself that you are unable to see. Now, these two characters are both taking. They are both taking, and that's because these two characters, this narrative, this dynamic is founded in lack. It is founded in the illusion of lack. And I say illusion because you can never be lack. You are infinite abundance. You are the infinite I am always. However, we have the amnesia of forgetting that, and then we have the experience of something other than ourselves, which in this case is lack. Unworthiness, not good enough. So these two characters, the empath and the narcissist, the overgiver and the overtaker, both come from a place of lack. Now, the empath will have a little bit of a harder time because it's harder for them to see their taking. Because they're giving, they're not able to see the reflection in the narcissist, which is the taker. The taking for the empath happens to self. So remember, the narcissist or the character who is in your reality is a reflection, a direct reflection of your relationship with self and what you are doing to self. So the narcissist is the overtaker and the undergiver, and they are overt in that. So it's clear, you can see the character clearly. The empath, however, is a little bit more tricky because it's covert. Now, that lack is a belief in their unworthiness. There's a void within themselves. I am unlovable, I'm unworthy, therefore I have to go out there in order to get love. For the narcissist, I have to take it. For the empath, I have to give it in order to get it. So they are both the same thing because they are both taking from out there, believing them to be unworthy and empty in here. Now, the empath, in order to get love, in hoping to get love, which you never get, which keeps the cycle going, you're actually taking from self. So the more you give and give and give without replenishing yourself, the less you have to give. So you're now going into debt within self in order to keep the dynamic alive, because the overtaker, the narcissist, will give just enough to keep the giving happening. So they give a little in order to keep the empath there, and the empath will give a lot more. So there's an overtaking and an undergiving and an overgiving and an undertaking. We are out of balance with the natural order of things because there has to be a balance of giving and receiving from within. So the empath and the narcissist are the same thing reflected back in reverse. And the empath is the covert taker, because in order for you to give to that extent, you have to be taking from self. You are essentially betraying and abandoning self in order to give to this person who you think is the source of that which you believe yourself to be going without or absent of. So you can see the hell that is created in this dynamic because it's coming from a place of lack. It's focused on out there, and no one is getting their needs met. Because the narcissist will never be satisfied, it's never enough, and the empath will never have enough to give. There's always needs to give more and more and more. It will never be enough. It's coming from a place of lack. So in order to break this cycle, and it's generally the empath that will have to break it because they're the ones who have nothing left to give, you are the ones who have to come back to self, keeping in mind that they are reflecting back the relationship you have with yourself, which is very unnourishing and very unsatisfying at this point in time. And what that means is your awareness is not on I am. Your awareness is in third person on them, on he or she or you. You need to be giving me more this, or you need to be doing this, or he just doesn't do this, or he is doing this. Your language will tell you where your awareness is. And I guarantee if you are in this dynamic, it is not on I am. It can't be. If you are in I am, then you are in the source of everything. I am is the source of everything. I am is everything. So if your awareness is on I am, you are in command of reality. You're in command of self. You're in command of consciousness. Come back to I am. I am with myself. I'm here for myself. I'm showing up for myself. I'm paying attention to myself. I'm loving myself. I am love. I'm infinite love. Once you turn all of that attention and love back towards yourself, that character can show up in a different version of themselves. But as long as you are focused on them and what they have to do and what they have to give to you and how they have to behave to you, you are going to be banging yourself up against the holographic bathroom mirror, hoping for a change in the reflection, which was always you to begin with. No one to change but self, and all change happens within, and within means consciousness, and consciousness is I am. Your relationships are a reflection of your relationship within self. So if you're giving attention to yourself, then yes, you're going to get attention given back to you in reality. But as long as you are looking out there for attention and out there for love and out there for validation and out there for whatever it is that you're looking for, you are going to see lack because it's not out there. It never was. And nothing that you do is ever going to make it come from out there. Have you noticed that when you just go, oh, you know what? Forget it. And you turn all of your attention back on self, that's the moment where everything turns back around again. And you're like, oh my God, how, like the minute that I pay attention to myself, that's the minute that they come back in. Yes. Because it's a reflection. They're reflecting you back. They're reflecting where your attention is. As long as your attention is on them and trying to get something from them, their attention has to be elsewhere because your attention is elsewhere. It's on them. They can do nothing other than reflect back the direction of your awareness. And you know where that is based on your language and the language that you're using. I am with myself. Great. Okay, that's excellent, powerful language. If you are busy telling your friends about what he or she or they did or how horrible it is and this and that, you are in third person. Third person is the level of reality. We have no control over reality. You are not going to get the results that you want from reality. That's the cycle. You're going to be banging your head over and over and over, hoping for a change and getting more of what is already happening. And it is very frustrating. It is very painful. And I don't want you to go through that anymore. It's very easy. Come back to I am. Start with I am. I promise whatever you are looking for in them is within you. And once you acknowledge it and recognize it and become aware of it within yourself, that is the moment where they can reflect that back because they are a reflection of your I amness. That's all they're doing. That's all they were ever doing. And yes, I have been through this many times. This is not a dynamic that plays out in my reality at all. Hasn't for years. It just doesn't. It's just not a dynamic because of my work with I am. If any of you have been with me a while, you know my relationship with I am is incredibly strong these days. Let me tell you, this dynamic cannot play out when you have a stronger relationship with I am than any other relationship in your reality. So come back to first person and affirm for yourself what it is that you're wanting from them. I am attending to myself. I am making time for myself. I am paying attention to myself. I am giving to myself. I am allowing myself to receive all that I'm giving to myself. I am in a giving and receiving relationship with myself. This is all a game of remembering. That's all this is, and that's all they are helping you to do. I am is your savior for everything and everyone. So come back to I am, even if it doesn't make sense, just come back to I am. Just affirm I am, if that's all you can do. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. And then maybe add I'm with myself. I'm here for myself. I'm loving myself. I'm with you. I'm here for you. I'm attending to you. I'm paying attention to you. I am showing up for you. I'm in contact with you. I'm in communication with you. What does that mean? How am I feeling today? Great. That's what it means to be in communication with yourself, where you're aware. I'm listening to myself. I'm hearing myself. I'm validating myself. I'm acknowledging myself. Literally, this is the relationship that you want to be having with yourself. And then that's the relationship you will find yourself having with others. So I hope this helped if anyone is in this dynamic. It is an old video, but I'll put it up. It's the fear of abandonment. It just goes into this a little bit more. So check that out. If you'd like to know more about I am and the I am technique, you can come along to the October masterclass, which is Thursday, the 31st of October at 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. If you go into the link and check it out, it will adjust it to your time zone so that you can see if it works for you. If you can't make it, the masterclass will be available as a replay. I'm going to be organizing that soon, so you can purchase that. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Stay with I am, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.